dose of hot tea only on Win Media 98.9.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Island Tea, right here on Win Media SKN, with your faves, Azem, and my lovely co-host and producer, Jade, Gwenny Idita, CPL, Martha Stewart Johnson. It's Thursday, May 12th, and of course, we are delighted to be here with you this morning to talk about what's happening in and around your community. Who's this that? Who's this? Vanna? I don't know. Somebody's to say it. But Jade, it's these are the kind of mornings I like. It's not too hot. It literally drizzled while I was waiting for you. It rained about 8 droplets, just enough. Maybe just enough, so it wasn't really nobody really had to run out of the road or anything. Mm-hmm. Just a quite cool down as you walk your way to your final destination, whether it be work, school, other places.
Yep, indeed.
But how are you doing this lovely morning?
I am sleepy.
Yeah? I figured you went to sleep early last night. I figured
wrong.
Oh. I thought you had an early night. You sent me the stuff over. I was like, oh, Jade moving early tonight, bye. Jade and come.
Well, it was relatively easy.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Yeah.
It was relatively easy.
Yeah, we know what today going to be.
Yeah, plus, the only thing happening in the country yesterday was politics.
Yeah, politics really kind of taking over everything.
Definitely is.
Yeah, I've been making it a point to try and highlight and big up people who are still doing good things. Just out and about.
Mm-hmm. We see.
Well, I literally was bigging up some footballers there.
Okay. That's a good start.
St. Paul's seem to be back to their winning ways.
Okay.
That's and I think that's been bringing a lot of excitement for sports fans who have kind of been, just craving for some football action. I've been wondering what's happening with some of the other sports though, particularly netball and volleyball. Where we at with those. This is obviously track season.
It is track season.
Well, it should be track season still. We should be coming down to the Yeah, we should be kind of hitting into the height of the track season.
What happened to the results from Nevis?
Who
That we
knows,
were supposed to
Jade?
get.
I told you. It was just a... There maybe exists somewhere, but I don't know if we can get the kind of announcement that we're looking for. Sometimes I feel like these announcements are just there to pacify us. Not really to update us, but just to pacify us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to body band on the Olympic Committee or anything, so...
You know what? That's a good thought.
Speaking of which, I see the Olympic Committee got the headquarters got a big facelift.
Yeah, that was a while back too.
That was a while back, but they just
Yeah.
finished like 3 weeks ago.
No, it was more than 3 weeks. I remember they had fireworks and everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
I looked outside.
And your
I
backyard was on fire?
Yeah. So I grabbed my child and ran outside so he could see them as well.
Okay, nice.
I was quite excited.
Hey, children love a fireworks, man.
Indeed.
Forget that. Everybody like
Everybody
a
love
fireworks.
fireworks.
Everybody like fireworks. Humans are interesting set of creatures. Yeah.
Yeah, we just want to see things go up in the air and explode. And we're happy. Yeah.
The Chinese. We have the Chinese one time for that. They're the one who come with the gunpowder and so. Them the ones who come up with the gunpowder. But Jay, of course, all the discussion, I went to, let me see. The only place I went yesterday where there wasn't any talk of politics was in the gym. It was a nice getaway.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
For me, that was, no lie. I was about to say for me that was home, but I wasn't even safe there.
No. You're definitely not. It's not safe at home. At least from politics. You might be safe from other things.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to any shop I went into yesterday. That was the conversation.
Well, I mean, I would be talking about it too. There was a welcome home motorcade.
Look, I just really try to just see things and leave it, But you guess what?
What?
I'm then charged with coming in here and talking.
Yes.
So then I just end up saying things.
Well, so what? These are the things.
I'll say it this way. That demonstration, it didn't appeal to me. I don't think it was supposed to either.
I don't think it was supposed to either.
But yeah, it didn't appeal to me. I was trying to understand what was happening. You have an understanding of what was happening?
It was a celebration of the return of the leader of the PAM party. Yeah.
It was a celebration of the return? He was imprisoned overseas?
No, he went to a funeral.
Hey, big up Sean one time, by the supporters with you.
Yeah.
I wish. See, no, maybe what happening is that it's saying that it's really not for me. It's just that I know when I return, I don't get motorcades and nobody be to greet me. So.
Next time.
No, I doubt it.
You know,
I doubt it, Jade. I doubt there'll be.
Yeah, it's going to just be me on a pedal bike and a flag. A flag with your name on it.
I appreciate you so much, Jade.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough.
But
coming out of his arrival,
yeah, what was happening?
he did respond to his dismissal.
Oh.
Yes. So would you like to hear what he said?
Yes, definitely.
Before Dr. Harris gave his remarks yesterday, which was Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
I was told that he would give a statement. After a statement was given, a number of people called me and told me what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, I was overseas attending a funeral, and on my way back, I was informed of this particular development, said leader of the People's Action Movement, Sean Richards, in a media briefing Wednesday, May 11th at the RLB International Airport.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Richards, alongside Lindsey Grant, Jonel Powell, Mark Brantley, Eric Evelyn, Alexis Jeffers, were dismissed as ministers of government by Governor General Sir Tapley Seaton on the advice of Dr. Timothy Harris as Prime Minister. This has not done any damage to the People's Action Movement or CCM. Don't watch me, Amy said. As a matter of fact, I think it has given our supporters a greater resolve in ensuring that after the next general election, Dr. Harris will not be the next Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. That is certain. Eugene Hamilton, who recently indicated to PAM that he has no intention of continuing as a candidate in the party was not among the list of cabinet members stripped of their portfolios and dismissed. Quite a coincidence. Instead, he was assigned the portfolios of Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Public Infrastructure, Posts, and Urban Development, previously held by Sean Richards.
Keep it in the family. Keep it in the family.
Well, I mean,
Keep it in the family.
Yeah. I don't think it came as a surprise to the People's Action Movement, Eugene Hamilton, as people would be aware when we indicated that we no longer support Dr. Harris as Prime Minister, had not taken a position that he was not going to sign that particular letter. That meant he has remained of the Dr. Harris's cabinet. Indeed, he did.
Well, I mean, from my understanding, it seems as though one of the things that the Prime Minister indicated would have led to this decision would have been persons not attending cabinet.
Well.
So if he's still attending cabinet.
Yeah. Well, Win FM, of course, inquired about whether Eugene Hamilton will remain a deputy political leader and a member of the national executive of PAM. Guess what Sean said?
What Sean said, because yesterday we asked Janelle, but he did say that they probably would take a decision. They hadn't taken a decision at that time.
That is a decision for the council to make and not myself.
So, okay. So there's some, okay.
AKA, they're going to remove that. That they're gone. Trust me.
Don't call him man like that.
Sorry.
The man is the man is the deputy prime minister of the country.
My apologies, Mr. Deputy. Our deputy, he going, man.
You going?
Yeah, bye. You see the video of him circling with the... People keep bringing it up yesterday. That he was on the 360 with Pam just,
Yeah.
in his white shirt.
Yeah. Oh, the fact that he had on a white shirt is a thing?
Yeah.
Yo, people need to chill, by.
That
was a sign?
That was a sign of things to come.
That was...
The fact that he didn't have on the usual yellow
Oh, my gosh.
was a sign of things to come.
Maybe yellow clothes is in the wash. Like, come on, like, you can't, like... I have on yellow today. What I mean, I'm now the deputy leader of the party. Like, I don't know, like... I don't know.
You look like you could fit in on the 360 though.
I've never been on the 360.
Neither have I.
But I'm afraid I might become nauseous and pass out. So
That's not even why. I don't like people looking at me dead in my face while I'm trying to do them type of things. I would need some space. Like if the 360 was in a room by itself.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I would do it.
No, I'm just generally not the one for taking images of myself.
Yeah. But I look like they was having fun though. White shirt aside. They looked like they was having a blast.
I tell you, just like yesterday I mentioned, I said, but I would love to have been like in the chat room. And, this is how I imagine it happening. The Prime Minister comes, makes his statement, and like as soon as he says, he usually ends by saying, "Bless our nation of St. Kitts Nevis" or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. As soon as he said that, everybody run to the PAM executive chat room, and you just see Eugene has left.
Yo,
like that's happening in my head. And then the conversation afterwards, somebody just be like, "Well, would you look at that? Would you look at that?"
Yo,
and then the stickers start coming in.
Suppose somebody was one of the Prime Minister in there.
No, I'm pretty, like, look, I have one that I use of Tim. Tim have some of these.
That same one. That same one.
This lady looking like very mischievous.
That's the sticker he sent and then he left the chat. Yo, I would die. That would make it even better.
Oh, man.
Somebody said white means he surrendered.
White means he surrendered. Oh, let me tell you something. I don't like the fact that the color thing does get so tense.
Like anyway, white in peace.
I know people don't drink red soda because they spam it.
And red soda tastes so good. Oh my God. Yeah, I love doing it.
Drop a little milk in it, make it pink.
Like I understand a green soda because that they taste kind of,
I know people love a green soda.
What?
Mm-hmm.
When I see people drinking green soda, I don't think they're psychopathic.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not having this conversation because I am so far removed from. I can't
Sodas?
even remember how soda it is.
Yeah.
I can't even remember how soda it is. How long me drink a soda?
If you drink a Coke right now, you're going to malfunction.
Oh, if I drink a Coke,
Your
wait,
whole
no,
body gonna
I
shut down.
start to bounce off the wall
Yeah.
and so just.
Your
Yeah.
whole body going to shut down one
A
time.
Coke, you say no? Wow. But yeah, I
Coke
think.
is the Thanos of the soda universe.
Oh boy, yeah, exactly. Just drink water and mind your business.
Yeah. Well, we also had another statement come out.
Yes,
Yesterday was
yes.
the day for the statements, boy.
As it should be, I'm really happy that the political parties are having their responses. I prefer these crafted responses than some of the Facebook just like random off the top responses. To be totally honest.
Somebody said I need to bring back pineapple soda for the pan people to drink.
Oh.
Pineapple soda was a good flavor. I'm not
I think Buster's still doing it.
May take it taste the same.
Mm.
Them glass bottle ones, they taste different. That's when soda was soda.
Mm.
Anyway. Yes, I agree with you. I prefer when they craft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when I got off script, boy.
Sometimes it brings some humor to the proceedings, but
It also leaves us with more questions.
more questions than answers. Yeah.
Because when you go up and say you ain't know what's going on in the country that you're running,
Woo.
look kind of funny in the light, man.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, you look kind of funny in the light. But the SKNLP leader addresses dissolution of parliament and dismissal of 6 former ministers. Leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, Dr. Terence Drew, is voicing his opinion on the dissolution of parliament and the dismissal of the 6 former ministers of the People's Action Movement and the Concerned Citizens Movement.
Mm-hmm.
The candidate for constituency number 8 said that Liberation Day is fast approaching, referencing the impending snap election the Federation has been thrust into after differences of opinion on the team unity construct made up by PAM, CCM, and the People's Labour Party, led by Prime Minister the Honourable Dr. Timothy Harris.
Mm-hmm.
God has set our nation on the rightful path to liberation after 7 long years of oppressive government. 7 long years of scandal after scandal. 7 long years of tarnishing our country's reputation. Several long years of promising a new Bastia High, a new JNF, and good governance. 7 long years of no integrity in public life, no freedom of information. 7 long years of draining our treasury, draining our social security. 7 long years of discord, misappropriation of funds, corruption and greed. 7 long years of putting you, the people, last, said Dr. Drew in an address to the nation on May 11th. A snap election is on the horizon for the Federation, and the SKNLP leader, whose party has already announced their full slate of candidates, reminds the people that every vote counts. We owe it to our children to correct the wrong with the power of the vote. I urge all eligible voters to ensure your names are on the voters list and that your IDs are up to date. Speaking of, I gotta check mine. One more sentence.
Right.
In the upcoming election, we are fighting for the very soul of our democratic and peace-loving country.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to look at the full address, you can head over to their YouTube page.
Yeah.
Peace-loving.
What I thought about the statement from friend of the show, Dr. Drew.
I feel like this is a statement that opposition would put out if I was the opposition.
Yeah.
So it's pretty on brand.
I mean, my main takeaway was it was a call to the population to stay ready for an election and of course to vote for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party independent election. I think sometimes and this is the issue that I have, and I keep talking about it, and I don't think any party is exempt. But sometimes the messaging, personally for me, does just be like you I think you lose some people. sometimes with your messaging, right? Because the way he described the last 7 years, I don't know if that is the general consensus. You see what I'm saying? Like, you could point to all of the things that, and the thing is, the people just let you know what issues are, you know. The people just let you know what your issues are.
See, somebody replaced Dr. Just Dave.
The people just let you know what the issues are.
Yeah.
Right? The people let you know. Like, it ain't like to say this is like before where people didn't have a voice. People right now have various platforms that they take to regularly to let you know why it is bad head. I don't know if what I read in the statement is what I've been seeing from the majority of people.
One.
But that's what I'm saying. So I think there's areas that you could focus on, and again, that really zone in on what people are feeling at the time. So the problem is when you don't do that, even if what you're saying, you could make a case for it. When you don't do that, it feels like a disconnect, right, from people. It feels inflammatory, like you might be exaggerating, and so people start to disconnect. People start to disconnect from the message.
You know what I'm also finding too? Some of the people aren't actually going based on their feelings or their issues or what is important to them. They're going based on what the politicians tell them important. So some people hearing speeches and going, yeah, I with you, this is the issues for true, even though they know that that's not true. And I feel like we're going to see a lot of that over this election cycle. Instead of people actually going, what is truly the pressing issues in the country? They're going to go to the meetings and they're going to hear what the politicians say and say, yes, that is them.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't even think that is a majority of people. I think that comes down to the fanatical people who that appeals to are the fanatical supporters who basically latch on to any rhetoric that is said by the persons representing the party that they support. Whatever it is they say, they just come and regurgitate. So I don't even really, that those are the people that I'm generally speaking about. Just the regular man, when they sit and they study and they say, well, what are the things that I have an issue with? Or what is my assessment of the past few years? Let me not say there's nobody. But most people can identify the ways that they think that the government fell short. I think people gonna have some things and say, "Hey, I wish they had deal with the election story. I fed up of these elections coming and coming and coming. Oh, we hear people talk about the hospital all the time, right? Somebody in the life talking about customs. But somebody talk about VAT. You understand? Somebody talk about so when you hear these issues coming up repeatedly, and then when they come up repeatedly, and you get the support behind these topics, and so you start to get a feeling of, okay, this is where the general population kind of seeing the issues are, right? But then when you hear the politicians come, and on one hand, the politicians are talking like as if, but they try to one side they're trying to minimize these issues. Oh, we're working on it, bam, 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 this thing and come, bam, bam. The other side gonna go and just go further down the rabbit hole, way down and make it feel like we're living in.
You know my biggest issue with all of this?
What's that?
Every election is the same issues, Oh, we're going to fix healthcare, we're going to fix this, we're going to fix that. And yet, every time we hear election come up, it's the same things y'all running on. So who going to really fix them? Who supposed to trust y'all to fix them if y'all keep saying that y'all going to fix them and nobody fixing them?
I think every election has its own little, a different flavor. Yeah, there's some issues that I think let's say endemic. But I think each election has its own flavor. If you look back at the election 2015, and just what led up to that, I think that had its own flavor. I think, and it's been admitted by pretty much all the parties that one of the biggest talking points was, and they wanted a change from the Douglas-led Labour Party, who had been in for a long time. As a matter of fact, some people contend that that election was basically a referendum on Douglas himself, and not even necessarily the Labour government at the time. Then then you have like let's say like a 2020 where the pandemic is one, and then not only that, the government is then coming to you and saying, hey, look at what we've done, but we need more time to put some of these things in place. Let's say you have these different flavors. Yeah, and not only that, if you want to go back to even 2015 and we start talking about what was happening with the Basti High School, I think that was a huge issue. You understand?
It's still happening.
Well, yeah, but the issue changed. Now it's getting it built, right? The issue then was whether or not there's an issue.
No, we know the issue is getting okay.
Yeah,
you want to take some calls though, because some people telling me they're trying to jump into the conversation. Sure. Apparently, you're raising their anxiety as in
me. What are you doing?
Talking.
Opinions. Good morning, caller. You're live on Island T. What's up?
Good morning, James.
Good morning.
How you all doing?
Doing good.
As I listen to you all, I don't know, I just find my anxiety levels are rising. Serious. And I'm wondering how many people are feeling like me about this whole thing. Like, just this level of uncertainty. I mean, I know this coming election, we have to scrutinize everyone much more closely. Look at the way they have behaved, look at, what they have done. Really think very hard about what we are going to do next. Because a lot of us had faith in this construct, and now that we've seen it tumble down like this, when I look from my own observation, and I look at the guys, say, and maybe it could be a silly observation, you could say, on my part. But this perception of, say, Sean, Lindsay, and all of them, and that sort of playboy party kind of person, that they have been showing over the past few years. Like, I haven't seen that level of seriousness coming from them. You understand? And then you see this thing came like a shock. From the People's Action Movement convention to now was like a shock to the system. And so I'm saying now suddenly we are faced with this, and I just feel very uncertain. I think for me, I would like a whole new set of people. I'd like a whole new set of people, to be quite honest. Like, if they have the right message, because right now to look at what has happened, it's like it's like you're in a relationship and it just gets shattered. It's that kind of feeling. I don't know what your thoughts are, but it's I know there are much more heavier things that we're supposed to be looking at, but just this, as you're talking to me, this is what came to me. I mean, why certain things? Why are these people talking about what they couldn't get done? I don't understand how that happens. And if you couldn't get it done, how are you going to get it done in the future? You understand? I mean, suddenly your people are trying to change their image, and this sort of thing. I mean, it's just. I'm just very uncomfortable. I'm just very uncomfortable. Since yesterday, I'm trying to, I just find it's a very disconcerting time to be alive. At first, I was laughing, of course. I'm like, wow, but as it sinks in and you realize what you have to do in the next few months is to listen to a lot of these guys on all sides making promises, and I mean, I'm old enough. I'm heading towards my how many decades, on the planet, and about 40 years of living in St. Kitts. So that I've seen a lot and quite a number of elections. And so, just like you said a while ago, you keep getting the promises, and then once they go in, you see changes in behavior. things are not getting done, who are we to trust at the end of the day? Why are these people putting themselves up to be elected and then they go in and do a lot of nonsense or just don't get things done is my issue. It's very, very upsetting to me.
Okay.
That's my frustration this morning and yesterday. I hope I will feel better. I'm going to take a swim. See you.
I'm sure that will help. I'm
sure. Take care.
All right.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Bye.
But Jade, I think the thing that has been constantly like, and I know I'm not the only one, This does seem to be a bit of a disconnect between what people would have been feeling about the government. To be honest, I think a lot of the unity supporters prior to the PAM convention would have spoken well about the government. Even though you say, okay, well, by the job shot here, the job shot there. I think generally people would say, okay, well, it wasn't the worst,
So you think...
And then now it's kind of like, well, from going from feeling like, okay, they're doing an alright job, to, but we don't even have like Parliament dissolve all this in the space of a few months. It's like
that happens so fast, right?
I think that is a bit off-putting for a lot of people. But we have somebody trying to get in on the conversation. Good morning, caller.
This is going to be our last call.
Good morning, caller. You're live on LNT. What's up?
Good morning, folks. You see, one of the challenges of leadership is to crystallize what is happening in the country, the mood, the concerns, and come up with a strategy to bring people along to your point of view, your solutions, your vision. Okay? So there's nothing wrong. Yeah, I mean, yes, it might come over as being kind of pie in the sky things when you talk about things like good governance and those things and the dysfunction of current affairs. But that is a reflection of the same day-to-day issues, bread and butter issues that people complain about. Okay? And so you can't expect a leader to just come up with one particular issue or the issues of a particular subset of society. He has to crystallize everything, okay? And so that is a challenge that all of them would face. The problem, too, is that a lot of the current politicians have a record. You can look at what they've done or left undone, and they have to defend that one way or the other. And so that is why you have this constant rebranding and re-imaging. And it's just, the fact is, the people, the voters, are going to have to make decisions based on what they know. I mean, I listened to Premier Brantley's program last night, and it was an indictment of Dr. Harris's leadership. If everybody knew what he knew, they would want Dr. Harris out as well. Okay, it's just that people don't always get the message, don't always believe the message, and so they make decisions based on that fact. But once they know, and that is a challenge of any opposition party campaigning, once they know the real issues, once they know what has been happening, because remember, we were fed a pack of lies. It was a deception that everything was okay, when in fact they were not. So once the electorate is privy to new information, correct information, I think they'll eventually make the right choices, and they won't be as confused as so many of them seem to be right now. And I agree with that caller. You probably need a fresh set of politicians, a new start. We can't keep recycling like this, okay? And so hopefully we do what she says and be very circumspect with our vote for next election. Vote for the right things, the right people, and at the same time, do not vote for the wrong things. got to emphasize that, all right? Because that, as we have seen, have consequences, which are not always to our benefit.
All right.
Okay then.
All right. Appreciate you, Carlo. Jade, Bobby, and me take a small.
Yeah, I think we should take a small break because our guest is here. Well, not physically, but
He's joining us
he's
via
joining
Zoom
us via Zoom. So,
from across the waters.
yes. So before we jump into that very interesting conversation, let's just take a quick break and come right back with more Island Tea right here on Win Media SKN.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Good morning, guys, and welcome back to Island Tea right here on Win Media SKN. We're about to jump into the next segment, which is a lovely interview with friend of the show. He's been here a few times, and every time he's come here, it's been vibes.
Yep.
And I suspect that today will be no different. What do you think, Jade?
Boy.
But guys, joining us via Zoom, we have the Honorable Mark Brantley. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Hi, good morning, and thank you for having me. I'm not sure you've seen me properly.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
man.
are.
Okay, thank you.
Can you see us?
I can see you. Good morning to you, and good morning to all of your listeners, locally, regionally, and internationally. You know, you have a big show, a big platform, so I'm happy to have the privilege of being on the show with you yet again.
All right, man. Appreciate it. And like I was saying earlier, you always make yourself available to come and hang out with us, and we really do appreciate it. But you, sir, a man who you've always been one of the persons that garner attention, and it seems as though recently, in recent times, you've really been one of the persons who has been on the tips of everyone's tongue. You have been making statements. You've been bringing information to the people, and you seem to be in the center of what I don't even know what to call it. What would you call this present political time that we're in? How would you describe it?
Well, I think the only word that comes to mind is crisis. We find ourselves in a political and constitutional crisis here in St. Kitts and Nevis. You know, last night a photo was sent to me of the new government and the new cabinet comprising 3 elected individuals and 3 selected individuals. And we have to wonder, is this what our democracy has come to? And let us not, shy away from the reality that we are where we are because one man has determined that he has to maintain control and the power of the office of the prime minister, and that he is not willing to compromise or to consider any type of compromise in relation to the views and opinions of his colleagues. And that is why we are here today. I am satisfied that having been one of the architects of Team Unity, having been there from the very inception, that Sean Richards and myself have done everything that we could to try and save this government and save this construct. It is us who have asked for meetings. It is us who have reached out. It is us who have written. We have been the ones who have been advocating for some type of compromise, some type of amelioration. And Timothy Harris has said, no, it's his way or no way at all. And so we are where we are here today because of that lust, in my humble opinion, for power, that insatiable appetite to be the center of gravity in the country. And we have arrived at this place. I think it is unfortunate that people would have only voted 2 years ago for a government we would have gone back in. Many of us would have tried valiantly to seek to redress issues privately and quietly until, as I say, the pot was boiling, it finally boiled over. And so we are now where we are. And I still thought that even though some things were said in public, if there was an intention or a desire to resolve this issue, it could have been resolved. All of us have asked for engagement. All of us have asked for meetings. All of us have asked for dialogue. The Prime Minister has been unwilling. And so we are where we are.
I hear you, and there's a few things that, as a citizen, I have to wonder about. One is, of course, how do we stop this from happening again in the future? You've obviously taken steps to try and address what you see as what you've described as just now, one man trying to be the center of gravity within the country. How do we address that in a way that lessens the possibility of it happening again in the future? Because I think that would have to be something that addresses, of course, the power of the office of the Prime Minister. And it seems as though, as much as we've heard talk about that before, it seems as something that is difficult to achieve.
Well, I don't know that it's difficult to achieve. For example, when we sat down and came up with the concept of team unity, we put in place certain agreed principles, and that is part of the problem, that he who assumed the office of Prime Minister abandoned those principles. One of those core principles was that we would have what we call a participatory and collective approach to decision making. Another of those critical principles was that the person who was in the position of Prime Minister would do 2 terms and only 2 terms. And that was a direct response to our criticism at the time that Dr. Douglas had been there for 20 years, and that was too long. So the irony is that it's not that I believe there were not efforts made. We had a compact, we had an agreement as to how we would operate. We took that to the people. It is that once people got into positions, they became addicted to the power of those positions and therefore decided that they would not leave and they would do everything in their power, including undermining their colleagues, to stay in those positions. And so what we have here, I don't think is necessarily a failure of our democracy. I think what we have is people of bad character, people who lack integrity, who are able to get into positions using the mechanism of team unity and thereafter abandoned the very ethos, the very principles and framework upon which team unity was founded. And so that is the reality. How do you judge character? How do you pick people who have the correct character and the correct approach? That's the difficulty. And that is why I agree with some of your earlier callers that as politicians come to your door and knock on your door and ask for your support, examine them critically, because that is what it comes down to. This problem could have been avoided. This problem, even when it arose, could have been resolved, but there was a lack of integrity and a lack of character. And I don't know that you can legislate for that. Now, in relation to the other issues, the broader issues, I am a firm believer that we need constitutional reform at this point in time. I think that our experiences 8 years ago and our experiences now do tell us that we need to clarify certain things. You take the motion of no confidence, for example. Recall that in the Douglas administration, it was held in abeyance for over 20 months. This time around, we had passed legislation to say it had to be heard within 21 days. And in fact, the actions of the Prime Minister 2 days ago was as a direct result of his certain knowledge that the Speaker was setting down that motion for debate on Monday coming. And so he sought to preempt that vote of no confidence succeeding by deciding to dissolve the Parliament and to fire everybody around him. And so we have to look at it and we have to say, well, listen, at what cost to the country? How much does one man need to hold on so desperately to power that it costs the entire country? It creates the chaos and crisis in the country. At what cost? And that I don't think you can legislate for. I mean, I know that we have good grounds to go to court. This purported firing by someone who has already lost the legitimacy to be Prime Minister, because the only reason anybody in this country is Prime Minister is because he commands the support of an elected majority. That is what the Constitution says. And once you lose that support, you lose the basis that makes you prime minister. You lose the very legitimacy of that office. And so for us, I believe there are ample opportunities to go to court. But what's the point? The point is that we are now in a different court, the court of public opinion. We're in a different court where the people will decide. And I believe that those who made the moves that they made 2 days ago miscalculated because they thought perhaps we would rush to the High Court for some type of relief, and then they could say that the matter is tied up in the court. No, there's no court proceedings. Let us go to the people and let the people determine. And my own view is that there is only one certainty coming out of this next election, is that Timothy Harris will never be the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis again.
Yeah, you have something to say?
Yeah, I was just wondering about the fact that instead of, well, you guys mentioned that you have lost confidence in the Prime Minister a while back, and this issue continued until it got to where it got to on Monday. Why didn't you guys just make the decision to resign instead of it getting to a point where you guys were fired?
Well, as far as we were concerned, it was, as the old people say, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I think that we effectively resigned when we said to the GG that we no longer support this individual as Prime Minister. Whether there should have been a formal resignation, we took advice on the matter, and our advice was that there was no need. I can tell you that all our members signed letters of resignation, which we were holding, but which we did not deliver because, as I said, based on the advice that we took, we anticipated that this would happen, that Timothy Harris would make this move. This isn't surprising to us. And his last play was really trying his best to frustrate the motion of no confidence from coming to the parliament. I have said on my show last night on radio, and I say so now again, that if there's anyone in this whole debacle that stands out and whom I think history will judge kindly, it's the Speaker, Michael Perkins, because he demonstrated a type of integrity in bringing that motion and declaring that the motion will be heard that we desperately need in our body politic and in our public governance. I think had they succeeded in persuading or pressuring the Speaker not to proceed with the motion, then we wouldn't have seen what happened 2 days ago. That would have been delayed because, of course, the whole process now is one of delay. Let us delay this for as much as possible while we give our party the chance to get candidates and to get our candidates on the ground and to do all that. We understand what has been happening. So the whole question of whether or not we resigned or whether we would be fired, really, as far as we were concerned, was neither here nor there. I think we made our position very clear. And we also decided that we could not attend a cabinet that was convened by someone who lacked legitimacy. And so the Prime Minister really had no choice. He was stuck. He had neither support of the elected majority, no support in the cabinet from the elected majority, couldn't call a parliament, didn't want to go to parliament, didn't want the motion of no confidence call. And like we old people say again, night run till morning catch 'em and morning finally catch 'em. And so this has been the result.
So it seems to me that even given your best efforts to try and bring some resolution, some compromise with the Prime Minister, this outcome must have been somewhere in your thoughts as a definite possibility.
Of course.
Now that we are here, and well, based on the fact that you would have suspected this may be where we get to, how prepared are you, CCM, and of course your partners in PAM? I don't know if that's the term you would use, but the PAM candidates, how prepared are you for the eventuality of the impending election?
Well, I don't purport to speak for PAM. PAM has a leader, and so PAM will have to speak for itself. I can tell you that the Big Blue machine has been ready. We are ready. We have what we need to rumble, and we have been ready for some time. Remember, of course, that the CCM was already ready in itself for a local election. So this doesn't come as any surprise to us. We are here, we are ready, we're on the ground, we have our candidates. I believe we have an excellent track record of performance, and more than that, the people of Nevis know that in the CCM they have a party that is willing to stand up for them. As I said, I fought on these issues against Dr. Douglas when I was in opposition. And when I got into government, I continued to fight in government on these issues. And had Timothy Harris honored the commitments to Nevis, he would not be in the pickle that he is in today. And so here we are. CCM is ready. We have been ready. We continue to be ready. And I believe that history will be kind to us in terms of what we have done, how we have handled ourselves, and the fact that we have stood up for the people of Nevis. They're the ones who vote for us. They're the ones who sent us to Parliament, and they're the ones that we represent, and they are the ones who will continue to stand firm for. And so the short answer is PAM will have to speak for its own state of readiness, but the Concerned Citizens Movement, or as we like to say, the Big Blue Machine, is certainly ready.
Well, I mean, speaking of the people of Nevis, I know this may raise some questions. One, what is your position in terms of government? I refer to you as premier. Some people asking me, he's still the premier? Like, people want to know. As well as how does this factor into the Nevis Island elections that we were anticipating coming up shortly?
Well, of course, we anticipated a Nevis Island election, which is due by March of next year. And that's what I believe parties in Nevis were gearing up to. Then, of course, all of this started to unravel on St. Kitts. And that is why, of course, we would have sought to get some resolution. That resolution has not proven possible. And so we now know we must have an election within 90 days. And so here we are. So by August, I think the country will have a new federal government. And we will see whether or not we have a local election before August or we have one after August. That's a matter that I and my team will have to determine what is the best approach. But it is clear that the election in St. Kitts is not within my control. The only thing that I can control as Premier of Nevis is the island elections and the date for that. And let me assure your viewers that I remain the Premier of Nevis. We remain in government, the CCM in Nevis, with 4 of the 5 local seats. And we will continue until such time as an election is called and as such time until the people make a different determination. But again, I say, I believe we have an excellent track record, our stewardship, our control, our keeping our people safe during the COVID-19 pandemic. We are running on our record, and I think it is a record that we can be proud of.
And so the due time of March 2023, that has not been affected by anything that has been playing out here in federally. That is still the date that is mandated by the Constitution.
Absolutely. And so we have time to go to the people in Nevis on a local election. And as I said, that was really our focus until matters unraveled in Bastille. And so we are where we are now, and we will have to do what we have to do. My clear declaration this morning is that the CCM is ready. The Big Blue Machine was in the shop. We tend to put it in the shop after the next election, but it has a nice coat of blue paint now, good tires, brand new suspension, and it will be rolling out very, very shortly. So we have no fear. Our people are energized. I think what the Prime Minister did, or the former Prime Minister did 2 days ago, really served to energize the people of Nevis. I have not heard one individual, even our worst critics in Nevis, who have said that they support the actions that have been taken. Because what he has purported to do is really to disenfranchise so many constituencies. You do realize that 8 of 11 constituencies are now outside the government. It means, therefore, that 8 constituencies and all the constituents living in those 8 constituencies are now outside the government. And what we have here is really a cartoon which rivals any Tom and Jerry episode that you would ever have watched. I don't know if you watch Tom and Jerry. It used to be one of my favorites, but this certainly surpasses anything that we would have seen on Cartoon Network to see these individuals masquerading as a government and as a cabinet. It is really tomfoolery to the highest level. And my own view is that Timothy Harris should take himself out of this agony, take the country out of this agony. He should have resigned once he realized he no longer had the support, because that clearly was a failure of leadership on his part. But to the extent that he wants to fight, then go to the polls and let the people make a decision.
Well, with all these new developments, with the dissolution of
Parliament. Yeah.
Parliament and the breakup of the unity government. Do you think
Unity
this?
hasn't broken up. Let me correct that. Unity has not broken up. One member has left unity. And I want to be very clear.
Left or
Unity
been put out?
Unity comprised three parties, PAM, CCM, and PLP. The PLP has decided to go its own way. That does not mean that unity has broken up. It means that one party has lost its way.
Well, I don't know if we, the people, would say that they left. It feels like they have been put out of the coalition. But do you think all of these developments has bolstered the opposition, giving them more strength because they have now seen that what was proposed to be the savior of the country has now kind of fallen apart?
Well, again, I think it's how we look at it, because I still believe that unity as a concept is the best political idea that we've had post-independence. I think that the idea of coming together, the idea of bringing the two islands closer together, coordinating in terms of policy, working better together, trying to attract the best talent from both islands to serve. I think that those ideals are still very much ideals that are of tremendous value to our country. The fact that one member of unity has decided that power and self-aggrandizement is more important than all else, I believe that that means that that member has left unity. They have abandoned the ideals on which unity was founded. So I still think that the ideals of unity are intact. We just backed the wrong horse in relation to somebody to lead that effort. Because once that person abandoned the unity and abandoned the ideals of unity, then clearly they were no longer fit to lead that, what I consider to be a very, very important initiative and important effort for our country. Does it strengthen the opposition? I think not. I think at the end of the day, the opposition still needs to come with a message that the people can believe. And I think that the opposition itself will come with a message of unity. What other option do they have? The people have clearly said that the days of this type of one party rule, that they no longer want that, they no longer need that. And so I believe that the next government, however it looks, will be an amalgamation of parties, because people think and want now a different approach. And the only difficulty that we've encountered with unity, team unity, has really been the leadership. There's been no other issue involving team unity. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs that I lead has been performing at an optimal level throughout the past 7 years. Our country has achieved so much in terms of diplomatic relations. I can tell you today, as we sit here, the St. Kitts Nevis passport is the most powerful in all of the Caribbean. Those are significant achievements. There has been a single scandal, not one. No problems with any foreign powers or foreign dignitaries. We have had a clean and professional approach to our foreign affairs. There's no problem there. I'm not sitting here today as the ex-foreign minister because I didn't perform. I'm sitting as the ex-foreign minister because I stood up for principle. And I believe that needs to be made clear. So I think that any construct going forward is likely to be an amalgam, where parties are going to get together because the idea of unity has come, and this is now the way to go.
Well, you've mentioned all of these good things as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and one talking point that I feel like the country has had for a while is the situation with Canada. And I remember that that was a critical deliverable in the 2015 manifesto. How has that been going? Have we made any headway in regards to that issue?
Short answer is no. We have tried. In fact, we have at all levels of the Canadian government engaged. I really do feel, honestly, that Canada is not interested in engaging with us on that particular issue, because we have tried. I myself spent some time on Parliament Hill, as it's called. I would have met with the highest levels, including Prime Minister Trudeau, whom you know, vacationed in Nevis a few years ago. And so we would have engaged, but we have had no traction on that issue. Of course, it's not an issue solely for St. Kitts and Nevis. Canada itself must be minded to engage. We have had some amelioration, for example, in relation to their new requirement that they want visa applicants to have their biometrics taken, and that people would have to fly to Trinidad. we were able to persuade them to come to us in St. Kitts Nevis and take the biometrics here to save our people that cost and that expense. But the truth is, on the issue of visa waiver and visa-free access, we have done absolutely everything that Canada has asked of us, everything. But Canada, in my view, has not been interested in advancing that. And so we regrettably have not been able to deliver on that, but it has not been for lack of effort or a want of initiative on our part. We have really sought to engage at every conceivable level with the Canadian government on that particular issue. I should also add that in Canada, they had a number of changes in terms of foreign minister that kept happening over and over as Prime Minister Trudeau reshuffled his cabinet. And then, of course, the world was beset by COVID. And so everybody lost 2 years during which nobody was talking about anything except COVID-19. So is the issue dead? I think not. It is still high on our agenda. But of course, we need Canada as well to see it as an important issue to move it forward.
All right. Well, stepping back a bit to what you were saying in regards to unity being the best way forward for the country. I believe there's a lot of people who share that sentiment, who believe that having a situation where there's representatives from various parties to speak on behalf of the nation at the table brings about the best outcome for persons, no matter which party they support, where they're from, etc., etc., etc. You haven't made that statement you made earlier. Is there, at this point, is there anyone or any party that you consider exempt from sitting at that table? Is there anyone that, given anything that has happened, track record, etc., that you can say, or let me say party, is there any party that is exempt from a possible seat at the table of Team Unity, of a Team Unity government?
Well, given the track record of Timothy Harris, he was with the Labour Party for 18 years, and he did what he did to try and mash up that. He then came to Unity for 7 years and has done what he has done to mash up that. I don't know that we should give Timothy Harris another opportunity to mash up something else. I recall a friend of mine said he was married for 6 times and 6 different women divorced him. And
sounds like fun.
I said 6 times. He was married 6 times and he got divorced 6 times. And he came to me and he said, women are bad. He said, Mark, women are bad. I said, no, you are the one who's bad. If 6 different women marry you and 6 different women divorce you, there's only one common denominator, and that's you.
Our marriage.
So you have to be the problem. And so we have to ask the question of Timothy. You were with Labour, you mashed that up. You come to Unity, you mashed that up. Well, there's only one common denominator. So the short answer to your question is I don't see that there will be a role for Timothy Harris in any government going forward. Of course, I can't speak for others, but that is my own perspective. And I believe that on 2 days ago, he purported to fire members of the cabinet, but in reality, he fired himself permanently. So I don't ever see him coming back. If he comes back to Parliament, that is fine, but I don't see him coming back to government in any form.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that he was with Labour and he destroyed that. Usually we like to learn from the mistakes of others because it's the best way. So why then did you guys decide to join with somebody that you felt has destroyed another party before?
Well, they say hindsight is 20/20. We all know that. It's like that's like asking me, why did you marry this woman? Didn't you see the signs? 10 years down the road, you said things not working out. Oh, you should have known because she used to like to party, or she used to like to do this, or she used to like to do that. The truth is that we were all genuinely seeking to make a difference in the country. Timothy Harris said the right things. He agreed to everything. In fact, he signed the Charleston Accord. I still have that document tucked away because I think it should be in a museum somewhere. He signed it, Timothy Sylvester Harris. And so it really speaks to who he is, that he would commit to things that he never believed in. And he would commit to things, including signing on the dotted line, when he never, ever had any intentions of honoring what he was committing to. Now, is it that he had that intention at the start and then somehow the elixir of power took over and he decided Why this thing too sweet, I can't leave it? I don't know. Did he have a change of heart midway? I don't know. But very early on, I detected certain things in him, and I have met with him. I have spoken to him. I have talked to him. And so I am not speaking publicly now because, oh, this is a surprise. I can recount a number of occasions in which I've engaged one-on-one. We even had cabinet retreats. I remember one at the Park Hyatt when we sought to iron out some of these issues. And simply put, there has been no resolution.
Did these issues start before the last general election?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So then why did you guys decide to, instead of bringing those issues to the forefront, put up this illusion that everything is running well, the unity government is strong, vote for these parties because they have been the best parties for the country. Nevis has been getting its better share. You know, it's been doing much better than it was previously with past administrations. If you guys knew that these issues were there bubbling before the last general election, why did you guys go into the next election with this same concept as before?
Well, all of what you said is absolutely true, that unity has done some incredible things in the country, in my humble opinion. The way we managed the COVID-19 pandemic, I think, was the best in the region. The fact that Nevis has, in fact, done better than it did before, absolutely true as well. So it wasn't that any of that was false. We came forward, and I think that we spoke quite candidly to what the position was. And we said to the electorate, give us another opportunity. That did not mean that we weren't trying at the same time to resolve issues internally. We continued to try. And I will tell you quite candidly that I and my party had a different view after the 2020 elections and the seats were cast and we knew who was in and who was out. Our position was that Team Unity should have at that point taken a different direction. The Prime Minister knows this, that we did not support him to continue as Prime Minister. And so that has been the position. And so we wanted in the CCM to make a change, but our colleagues decided that they would proceed otherwise. And so we did. And we said, okay, let us continue, therefore, to try to work and resolve these issues. Sadly, we failed.
I think that these are the things that tend to have people questioning. Like, no, we're here and we're hearing the talk, we're hearing what was felt, the attempts that were made, and people are really questioning exactly like how do we process all of this. One, you have people who are seeing the work that was done by the Team Unity government, people who have benefited directly from some of the actions taken by the Team Unity government. Not only just the management of the pandemic, but also, you know, for instance, the PAP program, the money that was given to the farmer sugar workers, and just people who have been benefiting from some of these decisions that would have really had them feeling as though we made a good decision when we put our X and voted for a Team Unity candidate. And now we're here, and it's like almost 1 year hearing that, but things was difficult for us to get done. A lot of this talk about it being so difficult to have compromise, to bring your ideas to the table. That a lot of this was just difficult to do the job that you were given to do by the people. And so, how do you speak to those people who have not only been your supporters, but also would have felt as though the job that was being done well, and now they're here at this position?
Well, I think it's a testimony to the resilience of us in the cabinet, that despite the difficulties, we got the job done for our people. That despite the problems that we would have encountered and despite the difficulties that we would have had, that we were able to achieve some things which I think are worthy of note. And the management of the COVID-19 pandemic, the peace program, for example, the PAP program, those pop out in terms of what we were able to do to really make a tangible difference. But that doesn't mean that all was well internally. All it means is that we put aside those in the interest of serving the country and trying to advance the interests of the country. But when things got to a point when we really could not continue, and it really got to a point where members of the team were being undermined constantly. We are aware, for example, that the PLP was actively recruiting candidates to run in constituencies that Pam held. Now, how is John L. Powell to feel when he knows that PLP is seeking to empower a candidate to run against him in number 2, and John L. is in the same cabinet as the Prime Minister, the leader of PLP? How is Lindsey Grant to feel when Lindsey Grant knows that this is happening? And so that was the problem, that we started to see that the very fabric of team unity, the principles, the core principles that held us together, were being eroded and were being abandoned. And so what do we do in those circumstances? Do we continue to stay and to pretend? No, we engage in dialogue internally over and over and over to seek to resolve these issues. And eventually we realized they could not be resolved.
Well, in early January, you made a statement that said, I believe, that the Prime Minister was the best Prime Minister that the country ever had. When did that opinion change in your mind? Or was this something just said because to try to keep the team unity construct looking as if that things are trying to be worked out, while in the background things are not as they seem?
Well, I think that you have it right that certainly when we speak publicly, we're trying to ensure that the public understands that as a government we are together, we are working, we're trying to achieve for the public. I mean, what would be the alternative? To campaign and say things are falling apart, we're really sorry, but we're at war internally? No, I think you go out to the public and you say to the public, listen, this is what we're seeking to achieve. We're seeking to move forward. However, internally, you seek to resolve those issues. I like to use the analogy of husband and wife. Things are tough at home. You don't go and shout out the window to your neighbor that you have a problem. No, you try to resolve it. You go to counseling, you hold hands and go to church, because that's what you do. However, you are at the same time trying to work on your marriage, trying to work on the situation, and you do so quietly. You don't do so on the airwaves. You don't do so in the public. You do so quietly. And I think that that is a similar type of thing. We were trying to work on this relationship. And I do believe that Timothy Harris, the Timothy Harris that we saw initially in the first term, for example, that Timothy Harris, who was at the time appeared to be mindful of the core principles of team unity, that Timothy Harris has been a good prime minister. I think along the way he lost his way. And along the way, whoever he has around him whispering in his ears and saying, you know, you can get more power, more money, more whatever it is he's looking for, that along the way he lost his way. And I now feel that he's no longer fit to be the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis.
When the parties came together and started discussing a way forward, a way that they felt was going to be a better way for the country, was there an idea of, okay, this is something that we are agreeing to for a specific time period? Was that part of the Charlestown Accord, or is that something that was just understood by the participants? Was there a time limit on it?
There was no time limit. It was the core basis on which the parties got together. Remember, these were parties. Timothy Harris was in a Labour government for years, and Timothy Harris was one of the most vociferous opponents of the People's Action Movement. Remember Mark Mann and all of these things. He was quite famous for the level at which he went after Pam. Nevis, for its own part, was led by Vance Emery, of blessed memory, the leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement, and Vance Emery had a history of refusing to join with any party in St. Kitts. So you had to bring these disparate strands together. And we were able to do that, long days and nights of negotiations and discussions. And finally, we came to an agreement, and we came to a core principles that would guide us. And I was asked as a lawyer in the group to document that, which became the Charlestown Accord, which dealt specifically with the island of Nevis and what Nevis would get from a team unity administration. That was signed, sealed, and delivered by Timothy Harris, Vance Amory, and Sean Richards in the courthouse steps in Charlestown before thousands of people. Now, if you're not going to honor that, then what will you honor? Because that wasn't a secret backroom deal. That was done in the open. It was made public. It was signed publicly, and people held it up and said, this is what we're committing to.
All right.
So if you can't even honor that, then what else is there left, really? It means that there is absolutely no integrity, none whatsoever.
Yeah, I think that like when you have these types of agreements coming, and it's signed by certain individuals, like you would have expected that there would have been some idea that this is expected to last for a certain time. You're saying that that was not the case here, and I believe that even if it was not something that was discussed, something that was not part of the actual agreement, that perhaps there may have been people involved in it that would have seen an expiration date on that agreement. That being said, do you believe that you're saying that perhaps there were persons involved in the construct that pulled away or turned away from some of the promises, the agreements, the things that were made in this document? Do you believe that it could be there was a feeling that this had run its course, we have done what we set out to do, and then it's time to then prepare for the next chapter in their political career?
I don't think that good governance could ever run its course. I don't think that a better relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis could ever run its course. I don't think saying that we want to limit a prime minister to 2 terms could ever run its course. And I don't think that an equitable share of the nation's resources to the citizens of the country that live in Nevis could ever run its course. So that is why I say that there is no time frame on this, because this document tried to set out how we would behave. And there's no running its course on good behavior. So it seems interesting that you'd ask the question the way you've asked it, because perhaps some in fact felt that, listen, the whole construct of team unity was to do one thing, to get me into the prime minister's chair. And once I'm there, to get me to a second term, and once I have been able to achieve that, then there is no further need for team unity. And perhaps you're right, maybe that was the thinking of some. But certainly I think for our people, the core principles that define team unity, good governance, greater transparency, a fairer deal for the people of Nevis who have suffered from time immemorial under various governments. All of these ideals are timeless ideals. These are things which should guide us every day. So I don't see a time limit on it at all.
Do you feel like if you guys are re-elected, that the Charlestown Accord is something? When when you guys are re-elected again, do you think that this is something that you can actually put into the Constitution, and so this helps to guide future politicians?
I do think that aspects of it, yes. I believe that the Constitution needs now to be revised. We have, for example, to insert into the Constitution these 2-term limits. We have to insert in the Constitution that we can remove a prime minister other than putting the entire country at risk through elections. That once the Governor General is satisfied, or the President, as the case may be, is satisfied that the person in that position no longer commands a majority, then he can change him. I think that these are things that we will need to do. And I anticipate that very early in a new term, those changes will be made so that St. Kitts and Nevis could really be on a better path and avoid the type of autocratic leadership that we've seen emerging. You know, the irony is that I've been looking at some old videos of Timothy Harris, and he knew all that was wrong with Douglas. He was very eloquent and waxed very eloquently about all that was wrong with Douglas. In fact, when he himself was at the forefront of team unity when we were fighting against the Douglas-led administration, and we wrote to the Governor General, 6 of us, similarly, indicating that we had no confidence in Denzel Douglas. He gave a very famous speech when he said that Douglas was illegitimate. And Douglas was behaving, he said, like a vagabond. Those are his words, not mine. Here we are, 8 years later. Are those words still useful? It is for you and your viewers and your listeners to judge.
So you think that the blame solely lies at the feet of the Prime Minister?
Well, I think that at the end of the day, the blame lies on all of us. I'm not going to excuse myself from blame, because I think that all of us should have stood up a long time ago. All of us should have, from very early, when we saw these characteristics emerging, stopped them in their tracks. I tried to do it, as I said, in my party. After the June elections, we said, no, we didn't want to go down that road again. But unfortunately, others saw it differently, and so we proceeded. But it is what it is. We are where we are. And the question now is, how do we recover from this? And how do we get the country on a path that really can have the ideals of our democracy held sacrosanct? And that is what we're seeking to do. But I will not say that he is exclusively to blame. What I will say is that when this crisis came to a head, he did absolutely nothing to try to ameliorate the situation. Sean and I have done everything that we could to try to bring the parties together. People like Eric Evelyn, people like John L. Powell, all asked, can we sit, can we have dialogue? The Prime Minister was not interested in any of that. He had his plan, and his plan was to elevate his PLP and to find some way, some magic formula to get back into government and to get back in as Prime Minister without team unity. I wish him good luck in that endeavor.
Okay.
All right. Well, Premier, quick question. You down to take some calls from our listeners? You're open to that?
Depends on how long. I do have some meetings. I probably can do maybe 15 minutes or so, if that's okay.
That's just fine. We appreciate your
Okay.
your. So let's jump right into it. I was gonna take a break, but let's jump right into it. We have some people who've been trying to get in on the conversation. Good morning, caller. You're live on ILNT. What's up?
Good morning, Azam. Good morning, Jade.
Morning.
Good morning to Premier Brantley.
Good morning to you.
Premier, I listened to you, and you did an absolutely phenomenal job of laying out this information last night on your show. What I was left with, though, is why didn't the people of Nevis know this before? I'm thinking, we voted for all of you guys, including the Prime Minister. Perhaps if we were known to us, we could have helped you guys straighten the Prime Minister out, because he would have had to have listened to the people. He didn't get there by himself. So I keep asking myself, why was this not known to the people all along? Now, I will tell you, the Charlestown Accord, most Nevisians don't know what it is. Why? We need to be told what exactly is in the Charlestown Accord. We hear it being bantered about, but we don't really understand what it is. The fair share, you better believe I would have been in Sinkers marching for Nevis fair share had we known. This thing has been dragged out and dragged out and dragged out, and I'll tell you something, Mr. Premier, it doesn't make you guys look very good, because it tells me I am left to wonder and question. So if I place these people back in the leadership of this country, is this how other things are going to be handled? The people need to know. I keep hearing about we are a team. The people need to know, because Timothy Harris, we would have straightened him out a long time ago had we known. Nevisians especially need to know, what is our fair share? And may I ask a question this morning? You made a statement about the passports of Sinkers Nevis. How many passports have we sold in our CBI program, and how much money? Because we don't know. Mr. Premier, I went through the immigration in London a couple of years ago, 2018, I think it was. And the gentleman looked at me when he took my passport and he said, were you born in Nevis? And I said, yes. And I thought that was a weird question. He said, I have been processing thousands of these over the years, and you're the first person I've met who was born in Nevis. And that was jaw-dropping for me. I thought that was a very strange and telling statement. So if nobody else want to know, let me speak for myself. I really would like to know how many passports have we sold, how many people out there who are non-Nigerians are running around with our passports all over the world. You know, the fair share. What is it supposed to be? We don't know. And you know what, Mr. Premier? We want to help you guys because helping you will help us. But we don't know. We just hear a lot of stuff being bantered about. And we don't know.
Caller, time is short, and I keep hearing you say you don't know. I'm concerned that you don't know, because if you don't know, it means you're not listening. It means you're not reading. It means you're not paying attention. The Charleston Accord, for example, has been published over and over. It's on social media. If you Google it right now, I'm sure you can find it. If you want me to send it to you, I know the voice well, I can send it to you. I mean, this constant rhetoric that we don't know, I don't understand that. In today's world, there's no reason why you shouldn't know, because the information has been made available time and time again. Now, on this issue about how many passports...
You think that we don't know is just rhetoric, right?
Well, caller, I'm saying if you don't know, it means that you have not put yourself in a position to know. What else can I do?
It is
you want me to deliver a copy to your doorstep? We talk about this almost every day. We publish it online. We have constantly engaged with the public on this. You are a member of the public, and you say to me, you don't know. So what am I supposed to do? It's like somebody who go to school every day. The teacher teaches same sum every day, and they say, teacher, me no know. So what am I to do? That's what I'm asking you, because I would and I can send somebody right now to deliver a copy of the Charleston Accord to your doorstep so that you could know. But I don't understand why you're saying you don't know. That is my concern. Too many of us keep saying we don't know. We don't know when the information is on every available medium. So if you don't know, it means you don't want to know. You haven't been paying attention. You haven't been looking. That's the only conclusion I could come to.
We have some other people trying to get in on the conversation. Good morning, caller. You're live on Island T.
Good morning.
Morning.
Azim, Jade, and Mr. Brantley. Kyle here. I'm listening to the conversation since morning, and I'm a little bit staggered when I hear, like the previous caller say, they didn't know these issues was happening. And social media is a big thing right now, and everything is on social media. How could we continue to say we did not know these issues was happening when we had a blatant PLP campaign manager blatantly disrespecting the CCM counterpart in unity, the CCM leader yourself, Mark Brantley, and then we're going to call in on the radio and say we did not know these issues was arising. I've been speaking about these issues to date, at least over a year now. Prior to the 2020 election, there has been so many things, like Mark Brantley has just stated, where field candidates were being fielded in constituencies that Pam has been running in. Let us go back to, even constituency number 1, when Pam came out and said they're going to run another candidate in number 1. We still had the previous candidate still doing work in constituency number 1 with a different set of people. So the information has been there all the time. The signs were there all the time. I just wish that we would have paid attention as citizens a little bit closer and understand what was going on, so we could have been better abreast to what we see today. What we see today has been going on for a very long time. It just came up now that everybody's acting so surprised when they shouldn't be.
All right, caller, thank you for your contribution. We have another person trying to get in on the line. Good morning, caller. You're live on LNT. What's up?
Good morning, my brother.
Morning.
Let's do one of these PAM, PLP, CCM candidate. Do not need it next day in government. They all need investigating for the past 7 years. They sit down there and allow Timothy to destroy people's life. I listened to Mark talking about Patches Library. Mark, you hire Patches. Where's the report from the airport, what you said to Weber? You put in cabinet and then you look back on it. God, do not sleep. You're crying, you all got more to cry. The people of this country had deserved better. You lied to the nation for 7 years. You have a good day.
Good day, caller. Thanks for your contribution. Any comments to either of those two callers, Premier?
No, I acknowledge what the previous caller said, and I think that he's right. That I myself have been the subject of relentless attacks from PLP operatives, writing on their own names, their own image. I have complained about it. It hasn't made a difference. We know that a lot of these people are paid handsomely through the office of the Prime Minister. They have been paid to attack me. They've been paid to attack Alexis Jeffers, to attack members of PAM. And yet we are asked to sit in a cabinet with the paymaster. And so we've gone to him, we've complained, we've asked him to stop these things. They haven't stopped. So I agree entirely with that. As to the last caller, I think, he is who he is and he will be what he will be, and we'll leave it at that.
All right, so we have another caller. Caller, good morning. You're live.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me. Mr. Brantley, Honorable Brantley, hope spring eternal in the human breast. And I think there was a period of time when you did hope that things would change and you did work towards things changing. I must say and commend you for doing an excellent job for your country as Minister of Foreign Affairs. From the way that you spoke about how you operated in London during that time of the Windrush issue, and so many other issues that you dealt with so eloquently, with such class. And your parents would have been so very, very absolutely proud of you. And Simeon Daniel, to have known that you represent your country on this kind of level everywhere in the Caribbean, when they listen to you, they pay attention. Everyone in St. Kitts and Nevis, when we listen to you, we pay attention. Thanks for doing an excellent job. There's some of you in government who work your tails off. You had your portfolios and did it with such class and with such excellence. I am so proud of what I see, the product coming out of St. Kitts and Nevis. You guys are citizens, brothers and sisters, who have done us proud. So thank you so much. By the way, agriculture, the people who you bring down to St. Kitts to work, excellent. Your ministers, your team. And it's sad when people will come and try to divide divisions, divide this place, divide that. And another thing, I haven't seen the bad-minded politics out of you. And that is something that I look for. I don't like this bad-minded thing because I've been a victim of bad-mindedness. So when I don't see it in you, I celebrate that. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we have a few minutes left with the Premier. Good morning, caller. You're live on LNT. What's up?
Yes, good morning, moderator. Pleasant day to you, and good morning to the Premier. But I have a concern sometimes in the way the minister like to dismiss folks when they call him, when he does not want to address what they say or you don't agree with what they say. And there's one particular part that stands out with a young lady from Nevis that called and says she don't know and she don't know. But yet he himself tried to make an excuse for not knowing who he was lying in bed with or who he was about to take off all his clothes with to lie in bed with.
Let me make it clear that I was never lying in bed with Timothy Harris and never took off my clothes. I want to make that very clear. So get your language
I'm talking
properly.
politically, sir. Don't get smart with me.
No, get your language right. I don't want any misunderstanding on Island Tea this morning, okay?
No, I'm
so
talking politically.
talk properly so everybody could understand. I don't want anybody tomorrow to say they didn't know or they didn't understand.
No,
so use proper language.
No, but you knew the type of person Harris was. So you can't come back now smartly and try to use flowery words about 2020's hindsight. All right? 2020 is hindsight to a fool who did not know before. But you knew all the signs of who Harris was there. It was all over. Everybody was talking about it. But you guys insist because of the one focus you had. You see? And that is why people call it what you guys had a concoction. That was not a move of unity. Unity is when people come together under good spirit. And the formation starts with genuine love. But it did not start with genuine love. Unity starts with genuine hate. And that's why we are in the position we are today. That's why we end up here today. So don't come with your foolishness telling people about hindsight is 2020. Because you didn't just have on glasses, you had on binoculars.
Yes.
At the time. Okay? Thank you.
All right, guys, please remember to be respectful when you guys call. I know this is a
brief.
heated discussion. Yes, and brief, most importantly. We don't have that much time left and other people want to get in. So.
Yeah, but for me, I think, of course, people will have their own opinions of the situation and looking at what has transpired. But before I make that comment, let's try and get this caller in quickly. Might be our last caller. Good morning, caller. You're live on LNT. What's up?
A pleasant good morning. Thanks for taking my call. What I find interesting, the Governor General, who was the Attorney General at the time when we went to independence, he was part of the constitutional discussion. How he cannot interpret the Constitution. And Mr. Harris was part of the signing of the agreement in Nevis. So what the public should interpret that those who put document together, they cannot interpret it. So why Mr. Brantley should tell the voters continue voting for the persons to get them in office, and then when they make laws, they're not abiding by the laws. Thanks.
All right, thank you, caller.
That's the last call, but we have one more question.
Sure. I'm really running out of time, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm really running out of time. So yeah, okay, what's the final question?
Okay, so the last question is from somebody that was listening. They said,
Yes.
why did the CCM and PAM cabinet members boycott cabinet meetings but didn't respect the electorate by telling us yet continue to accept ministerial salaries?
I don't know what that's about. I have not gone to cabinet for the past 2 weeks. Ever since we sent a letter to the Governor General, we decided that was it. We could not, at the one hand, say we have no confidence in somebody who's a chair of cabinet, and at the same time attend cabinet called by that chair. So Timothy Harris has been presiding over his little puppet cartoon cabinet, and so he will continue. 90 days. The clock is ticking.
TikTok.
Yep.
TikTok.
Well, I mean, we are. I think for most of us, we are hoping for some end to this particular chapter of this saga.
Yes.
And we are eagerly awaiting the announcement of the date for election that is pending. As we close, we've heard I've heard a few people speak about, hey, and I do believe that this sentiment comes out of a sense of disappointment that, hey, you guys came to us, you guys said, this is what we're going to do, this is the team, this is the outlook, this is what we should expect. And here we are. I want you to just take a moment and just appeal to those people who were really supporters of Team Unity and are now really questioning whether or not to place their support back into the CCM and the People's Action Movement.
Well, all I will say to our people is simply this. They have to examine each and every candidate that comes to them. They have to make their own judgment as to whether that candidate represents their values. And I'm satisfied that on the island of Nevis, the Concerned Citizens Movement is a team that people know, the team that has stood up and represented the people of Nevis, that our people will be kind to us because our people understand that we have sought to do the very best that we could sometimes in almost impossible circumstances. Should we be judged harshly because what we sought to do did not succeed in all aspects? Perhaps. But I think it also demonstrates courage. It also demonstrates character for us to say to the public that what we thought isn't the case, that we have lost our way, and that we need to reset the clock, and we need a new paradigm and a new framework going forward. And so for me, it is really ultimately, as it always is, an issue for our people. The voice of the people is the voice of God. And in an election, it will be the people of St. Kitts and Nevis who will determine the way forward. And whatever decision they take, I am happy with, because I think that those of us who ask others to repose their trust and confidence in us should be satisfied if those people vote in any particular way that they choose to vote. For my part, I want to thank you for the opportunity to have been here with you this morning. I wish I could stay longer. I hope that you will invite me back on another occasion. But for my part, I will go out. I will work hard as I always do. I will appeal to our people as I always do. And I will say to our people that at the end of the day, the Concerned Citizens Movement team is clothed with the necessary integrity, is clothed with the necessary strength of character to represent them in Bastille. And that is what we're seeking to do.
All right, Premier, we are grateful for you taking the time out to come and hang out with us this morning. It's always a pleasure.
And of course, you can be back anytime.
Man, just link us, what's going on. But definitely,
I'll see you all at what's it called, at Tropics.
Yeah. Okay. You're coming in your shorts and your tropical wear.
Tropics is coming to Nevis, so I'll see you all there.
Oh,
yes,
for sure.
We are.
For sure.
Yes, we are.
See, that's real unity at work.
Indeed.
Thank you all very much.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. Cheers. Okay. Bye-bye.
Well, Jade, a lot's been said. I think for the most part, what I have been getting from the members of cabinet who would have withdrew the support from the Prime Minister is that they felt they were in a situation where it was impossible for them to work and to get the things that they wanted done. It almost, let me not say almost, because I think this word may have been used, the D word might have been thrown out. Now and again, dictator.
Where's
that D word might have been thrown out once or twice. So
once or twice.
Oh, it was more than that?
I feel like I've come to at least 5 times.
At least 5 times. So that seems to be the cry. Hey, we have to protect our democracy from this guy. No, of course, that of course is not the sentiment being put forward by the Prime Minister. And he has been, let's say, very strategic in his utterances.
We have heard from him the least.
And how he has addressed these things. Mm-hmm. I think the most telling message that we have from him in regards to how he sees and views all of what is happening is the response to the 18-page letter.
Yeah, man.
The 18-page letter, I think, is his position. And I'll encourage anyone who has not read that to try and get your hands on it and read it, because
some time and sit down and go through it.
And because I think it's important for us to try and understand all the sides, right?
Especially going into our next election.
Yeah, because what I think happens a lot of times is that we pick a side and we go blindly along with what the side is. And I think, to be honest, I believe that if you are to leave yourself open to all that is being said by the candidates who would have, put their withdrew their support from the Prime Minister, and you go and you look at everything that the Prime Minister has said, I believe that you will draw your own conclusions.
Definitely.
You'll draw your own conclusions. And I don't even believe you'll line up with either or fully. I don't think you'll line up with either or fully.
So there's about to be some interesting next couple of months.
Yeah.
I can tell you that for sure. But we have some callers trying to get in. Caller, good morning. You're live. But we lost that one. Feel free to call back.
Yeah.
We have just a few more minutes.
I don't know.
In the show.
I could talk, and this is of course my personal view, and I don't expect anybody to agree, but I have not been able to swallow any of these meals whole. I've been taking some from this, some from this,
lot of water,
and drawing my own conclusions, and all of this is going to, of course, affect how I exercise my democratic right. Sometime before August. Good morning, Carlo. You're live on LNT. What's up?
Good morning, Bailey. Good morning, Jay.
Good morning.
Morning.
As a young person, this makes me sad. I was enjoying the interview earlier at the start, and then he went on to answer Jade's question about him calling the Prime Minister the best that the country ever had in January, and about 6 to 7 days after that, coming out and sharing that they had issues since before the last election, which said to me that these people take us for fools. Young people, they don't respect the intellectual, the intelligence of the young people, of the electorate. And it's sad. And we keep doing this over and over with politicians who don't respect the electorate. Now, how can you say in January that we have the best Prime Minister coming out of a budget debate where you don't know nothing about the peace and double salary, because everybody was shocked? Before that, you were having issues. So you had issues, went into debate a budget, say aye to something that you don't necessarily agree with. Come January to say that he's the best Prime Minister, and then in February at some convention or March, whenever it was, to say nothing good happening. And then coming back to us now to put all of that together and say you think good has done for the country. Well, they're in country of themselves. They were trying to save the party, save the government, or save their appointment in government, and not call out the Prime Minister and the thing. He keep talking about a relationship on all his shows, relationship. This is not a marriage relationship. This is public business. You have 45,000 people's business dealing with and holding it like a relationship. You're trying to save relationship. Save the country first of all the embarrassment. And then you try to save that thing you put together. Right? I just want to tell the young people, don't let these politicians mama us. Listen to what they're saying. Put everything together. Take notes if you have to. What I said January 1st, to what I said January 5th, to what I said March 5th, and put everything together. I'm not talking about just CAM, CCM, PLP. I'm talking about labor too. Put them to the task. Let us have our own lie detector test and mammogram detector test, because I feel like that is what this government has been doing since we know something was wrong. To come out when Douglas had filed the motion and no complaints, because he knew something was wrong with the government. Now you're coming out and telling us that something was wrong some years ago. The same thing was Sam and Timothy did with the Labour government. You went into a 2010 election to tell us something was wrong since 2008 or 2007. Doing the same thing to us over and over and over. These people have no respect, and they need to be held accountable to their word. All right? I rest there.
All right, man. I appreciate your contribution, bro. Appreciate your contribution. Jade, I think the thing is, a lot of people. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people feeling like that, and that's why I asked. That's why I asked the premier the question I asked, and the end I said, "Boss, like, the truth is, people looking at what's going on, and they feel. Some people, as have much as said, like they feel lied to, they feel hoodwinked, bamboozled, run amok, played for a fool."
I think offense to somebody on this live talking about if they never had a woman. Please do not compare women to this mess. This utter mess.
No, but I think the truth is that has been one of the metaphors that has been used.
They need to stop using it.
Yeah, over and over again.
Cut it out.
And,
okay?
and the thing for me is that the honesty can probably run you better in the long run.
And not only that, right?
Probably run you better in the long run.
I don't know if politicians remember that when they say these things on public platforms where there are recordings, there are literal press statements, there is evidence of what they said before. So it is very easy for anybody who is listening to just go back and rewind the tapes and say, well,
but you know what?
You said this the other day, but how come this is what you're saying now?
I don't know if I said this on ear. It might have been on ear when we were talking about debates and things. Yeah, I think I did say it on ear. One of the things that we're really missing around here is just fact checkers here.
We're not missing them. They had the idea.
No, Jade, me talking about people who just remember something and people who just got recording something. I'm talking about agencies, the job it is to keep track of what it is put out, what is that is people's job, Jade. That is a job.
Well, we need, for the next election, we need somebody hire them.
We need some fact checkers.
Because what y'all just be telling big people, y'all watching us in our face and telling us one thing, and then coming back and acting like you didn't say it before. This is why all these video clips keep popping up. This is why all these statements and these snippets keep coming up, because what y'all said then and what y'all said now are lining up, and people realize that, and it ain't hard to realize that.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody is exempt from this type of this type of criticism. I think that we've seen it over and over again, and as persons who are then asked to put your support behind, a candidate, you sit there and you wonder. And I think this is one of the things that is concerning for a lot of young people. When I talk to some of the young people, they'll be like, I don't even know who to vote for.
Because
I don't know who to vote for. And when you say that, it's not because of the difficulty in terms of the plans or it's just based on I don't know whose character I trust, or if I trust any. And that in itself is telling.
Everybody looking funny in the light right now, I'm gonna lie to you. Everybody looking funny in the light. And a commenter is saying politicians are human beings. They can praise someone today and in the same breath brutalize them the next day.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. As a matter of fact, I believe that things change, people change, circumstances change. What is the issue though is that when things change and you come back and you said, well, I knew this before I told you what I told you the last time.
Exactly.
Then that raises some questions.
Yeah,
then on top of that, if you are not willing to admit where you would have put the position, for instance, right? You have two people. They're friends, right? You have two friends, and one friend goes to the friend and says, "Man, you wouldn't believe what so and so did to me. I really trusted her. I thought she was just really my friend. I thought she was somebody I could depend on." And you go, by a long time, I know you saw she be here. Does your friend have the right to feel upset with you for not alerting them that, hey, this is somebody I need to at least have my antennas up for?
Yeah, if you have the best interest for that person at heart, why would you withhold that type of information from them?
Right. Now, do you believe that the person who withheld that information should go to that person and be like, well, bye, really and truly, you can't fix me because it wasn't my place to say whatever. No, that person should, at that point, at least first apologize. And of course, then, if they want to go ahead and give the reasons why they would have had the view they had of the person, they could do that. But you have to start with an apology.
Yeah, you can't just say, well,
You can't just say, well, bye, they doesn't see it long time.
And we were just trying to save face and say, no, this is not that type of... Listen, when it comes to the runnings of a country, this is not no little relationship. This is not no little side hustle. This is a country filled with people who place the powers in the politicians' hands to put out the best interest for that country. We don't want to hear y'all come back and say, well, we didn't know all the time, but we did just... No.
No, and the thing is for me as well, Jade. I believe that, and this is why I keep talking about the messaging, because I do believe that there are things that are being said that should be concerning to the population, right? I believe though how a lot of it is said, it leaves a lot of the population wondering, one, what are the motivations of those saying it, and two, sometimes just confused. Just confused. I mean, when you have politicians talking about not being able to put people on certain programs, and then the person then getting on the program through other means. How you say that? You have to understand your audience here. If you're talking to somebody and you tell them, look, boss, you all hire me to do a job, I can't do the job. People could take offense to that.
Yeah.
But when you come and you say, like, but I can't believe they went and undermined me. Watch you, but we ain't care about your ego.
No, we care about.
We ain't care about
us.
you. We ain't care about you. We ain't care about how are you trying to achieve in terms of getting me to vote for you the next time, because that's how we're gonna come off if you present it present a certain way. So the messaging is important, because people then start to either disconnect, or the message resonates with people and they support based on how you say it. And a lot of times, it's like we're trying to toe a line. We're trying to toe this line where we understand what politics is. Politics, in essence, is a popularity contest. Who gets the most votes more than this person, that person? I almost feel like an episode of Who's Got Talent, America's Got Talent. I one of them there, and they tell you call in and vote.
This you feel more like Flavor of Love.
Oh my gosh! But what I'm saying is, so they're trying to balance a line between, hey, we need to look good because we need the support, and at the same time, balance a line between where it's like, bye. I wish I could say exactly what's going on. But my thing is, just exactly what's going on. Say what you need to say.
Say exactly what is going on and stop talking about, oh, we were trying to save face. We didn't want to tell, because now everybody thinking you're lying. And that is just the bottom line. Everybody looking at the politicians like, oh, so y'all was lying to us basically. Because you can't come tell us one time, oh.
Timing is important, Jane.
Yeah.
Timing is important.
Bye.
Good morning, caller. You're live on LNT. We're going to make this the last call, so please make it brief if possible.
I'll try my best. Good morning to one and all, Jade, and of course my cousin, and to the good people of St. Kitts and Nevis listening to Win FM. Boy, Win FM is hot, boy. Hot today. Hot today. It's a good show that you all are having, because it shows that our democracy is robust, and we are able to now listen to, at least so far, one side of the argument and discussion. But as you have said earlier, my good friend, the Prime Minister and political leader of the People's Labour Party has already established his position when he wrote his 18-page, and I will say, intellectual discourse, not only to the persons who they were addressed to, but to the nation. He put forth clearly and also dismissed every accusation, innuendo, and lie that was put forth by the then partners that he tried to work with in team unity for the betterment of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I would like to say, the People Labour Party, PLP affectionately called, will soon have its time to address the nation again, robustly, and to dispel all of these negative insinuations and innuendos and lies that have been purported, and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis will get the truth. And then, on the day that is appointed, God and the people will speak. So my name is Craig Tuckett, the Director of the People's Labour Party, Director of Communications. It is my pleasure to have this opportunity to speak to you on your platform, and I say to you, wait, and you will hear from us very shortly.
So we have a question for you, sir. Don't leave yet. Are you there?
I'm right here, right here.
So are you promising that we will get our sit down with the PM?
No, man, it's the man to work on it.
I am saying to you that not only the Prime Minister and political leader of the PLP, but all the leaders, the rank and file, the 7,000 registered members of the People's Labour Party are willing and able not just to defend our Prime Minister and political leader, but to defend our party and to defend our nation.
On LNT.
We are able and willing. We are able and willing to do what is necessary to ensure that the safer, brighter, and strong future that was promised in 2015 and 2020, even those persons would have tried to derail it by ousting and dislodging the man appointed and chosen by the people to be their leader, we will have the whereabouts and the ability, intellectually and also to reach the grassroots people, to inform them about any situation. So if you call upon us, we are more than ready and willing to accede to your request.
We'll hold you to that.
All right,
hold you
Mr.
to
Target,
that.
big up yourself.
All right.
Yeah. Well, Jade, time is fast spent. We're gonna have to leave. We're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to disembark. But quite interesting this morning. What I can pull away from this though is that there does seem to be lots of energy on different sides of the coin. Persons who definitely support the actions taken by the 6 members of Parliament, and those who who don't support it. And I think that we are at a point now where we are squarely in election mode. We are squarely at a place where the campaigning has already begun. The campaigning has already begun, and I think that the conversations are now going to start twisting towards what happens depending on the outcomes of these of the election. I keep saying it. I think 3 is a magic number in St. Kitts. I might be one of the persons that don't believe anybody getting 6.
Boy.
So some sort of unity gonna have to be forthcoming, and we're gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. And I mean, I'm one of the persons who believe that, hey, I don't have a problem if all political parties have a seat at the table. And of course, we don't vote for prime minister, so they will, whoever the elected officials will sort out who they support to be the next prime minister when that time comes, and inform the governor general, who will then do the appointment. But I believe that we are in for very interesting times. Politics does make strange bedfellows, and we'll see.
Indeed, we will see.
We'll see.
I am just happy that a representative from the PLP party said live that we will get our sit down.
No, but he has come and hung out with us. I think we want to
hang out with us.
Stop dogging at the place. Stop dogging at the place.
For this election cycle, the only persons from the PLP or from any party I want to hear from is the actual leaders and politicians. I don't want to hear from the communication strategists. I don't want to hear from nobody on the side road who does put on a PLP shot, PAM shot, Labour shot. Politicians is who I want to hear from, because at the end of the day, these are the people who we have to elect, not the people rooting and rallying for them.
Sometimes I can tell you, sometimes them is the people who doesn't make the blues, but
anyway. We ain't going to contribute to that. So let's hear straight from the politicians then, please.
Oh man, but guys, it is what time it is, Jade? It's 10:05, right here in Win FM studios.
Indeed, we gone overtime.
We gone overtime, so we're gonna have to really go. But guys, appreciate you for taking the time out to come and hang out with us. Of course, again.
Wait, somebody said put the country out of toilet.
Oh boy. But yeah, of course, again, giving gratitude to the Honorable Mark Brantley, Premier of Nevis, for coming and hanging out with us. See, he can't really say he's unemployed. He still got mandate.
Yeah, man. You see, the man had meetings to go to?
The man had meetings to go to.
I did, however, drove past the office for Journal, and it's coming to come. I see them out there working.
Well, this weekend is
yes,
the opening.
Yes, I think he said tomorrow?
Friday.
Yes, tomorrow is Friday. And guys, hopefully we will have another wonderful politician to come talk to us tomorrow on ILNT. But before we go, we have to make mention of the fact that we have lots of things happening as usual on Win FM. Stick and stay. Today we have DJ Flames coming on later to give you all some music. And of course, the balance to our show.
Only good news tonight.
Only good news will be on tonight with Anointed. So please make sure to tune into that. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, guys. We'll definitely see you guys tomorrow.
We're heading to Antigua.
Yeah, tomorrow we have Cross Caribbean Link Up.
Indeed, we are heading to Antigua tomorrow. So,
guys, yes, if you joined us on YouTube, Facebook.
Oh, they have a meeting tonight, halfway through? You ever been to a meeting?
Jade, I just end up down,
Oh, yeah, it's true. You just have to go.
Yeah, I just end up at all of them. But But yeah, guys, like I said, if you join us on any of the digital platforms, we really appreciate you taking the time out to come and hang out. If you listen to us on your radio, of course, you guys are always the real MVPs. The callers, you guys help to make the show what it is. The commenters online, I love the back and forth this morning. Guys, remember to always keep it respectful.
Please.
Yeah, guys, we really appreciate your contributions. They do not go unnoticed. Jade? We have to go.
We have to leave.
We have to leave. But we'll be back tomorrow, as Jade said, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Sharp.
Same place. And guys, remember, spend more time living your content than posting it. And you can't be everybody's cup of tea because you is not a mug.
We're going to have to change it to politicians, though.
Whew. Well, you're not a mug because you're not in cabinet. Okay. See you guys tomorrow.
Track is back! Track is back! That's right! Track is back! SKN Athletics and Rams present the first